Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at replacing the fuel filter on a 2013 Volvo XC90. This is a piece of routine maintenance that's easy to overlook because you don't need to do it every oil change. But this is something that's important to think about every so often because the fuel filter will accumulate grit and it will reduce your fuel pressure at your engine, making it run less than ideal, something that's part of the regular maintenance for the vehicle. Something important to think about, something super easy to do. You don't even have to jack your vehicle up off the ground to do it in most cases. I've got mine jacked up here just a little bit to make it easier to show you on camera. Super easy to repair, takes you only a couple minutes. Let's go take a look at the parts and tools needed to do this. All right, for the parts and tools that we're going to need, this is very simple. First and foremost, we are dealing with the fuel system, so make sure you got safety glasses around. Make sure you protect your eyeballs. You don't want to get gasoline on that. You're going to need a 12mm socket, and a ratchet. A 3/8 is all you need. Maybe you could even use a 1/4 inch. We're going to want just a little bit of grease here. I like the super lube here to lube up the ends of the filter where it connects into the fuel system. You'll see why that's important as we get into this a little bit later on. Then you're also going to want a small flathead screwdriver and a shop towel. There's a Schrader valve that we're going to be releasing some fuel pressure into, and so the shop towel is going to absorb a lot of that. You also may want a glove or two for your hands. And you may or may not want a little shop light there to give yourself some extra light. And the final tool that you're going to need is this. And that is just a simple catch can to put underneath to make sure you don't have any fuel released onto the ground. It goes without saying, do not smoke while doing this repair. And this is not a repair for power tools because, again, it is the fuel system. Use your hand tools. That's all you need for this. Super simple. Now let's get under the car and get to work. So now if you're trying to locate the fuel filter, find the rear passenger side door and go straight down the middle of the door, and you'll be able to find, kind of in front of the door handle, the fuel filter underneath the vehicle, right inside the frame rail.
Now that we're under the car, here's the fuel filter here. You can see it's secured by the bracket and bolt. And now the first thing we need to do is to be able to find the Schrader valve, locate it right back here. It's got a little cover just like you'd find on a tire. We can go ahead and unscrew that with our hand. It'll be a cap that you, in theory, could use on your tires. Obviously don't. And then now we're going to be looking for our shop towel. And then we're also going to be trying to reach and grab our small flathead screwdriver that we're going to use. And we're going to wrap the towel here over the end of that Schrader valve. You have to fish it around the other line there. Take your time here and make sure you don't damage the line there, because this towel is going to act like a giant sponge and rag. Now we're going to use the tip of that flat blade screwdriver to be able to remove the pressure in the fuel system. And it should just bleed right into the shop towel there. Give it a nice little press. Obviously make sure you're wearing safety glasses here because we're talking about pressurized gasoline. Wipe it away. It's still going to drip a little bit. That's why we've got that little catch can bowl down below on the ground underneath this. I'm going to do this just a couple more times here just to make sure I've got all the pressure released. It's also a good idea if you can let your vehicle sit for a bit, just to be able to remove any more additional pressure that may have built up, especially if you just got done driving the vehicle. And so now on either end, there's a set of tabs on these connectors. They're just simply squeeze buttons, one on opposite sides. Push it or squeeze them together and pull back. There's obviously going to be some fuel that's going to drain out. This is an active fuel line. And so that one towards the front of the vehicle, which is on the right side of the frame here, came off relatively easy. The one here on the left side, it's getting stuck just a little bit, but don't force it because inside those connectors, there's some O-rings. That's why we got that lube that you saw on the parts list. And so now, because that's not sliding off quite as easy as I would like it, we're going to get a 10mm socket and ratchet. We're going to go ahead and remove the bracket. We've got to remove the bracket anyway here, just so we'll get access to the fuel filter, because this serves as a means also to clamp and securely hold the fuel filter in place. And so we'll get our socket on here, and then we'll get going. And now with our 10mm socket on the ratchet, just push it on that bolt there, give it a couple little quick turns here. This is not that long of a bolt. It's fairly stubby, all things considered. And so then that's just going to come out as we use the ratchet here and pull it out. Eventually we'll be able to get it kind of hand tight, but because this is kind of a two-part metal clamp, it also kind of threads against itself too, there. So now you can see it's coming down. Now the fuel filter is being held by that line, so be very careful and gentle. And now I've got the ability to be able to kind of get the angle just right to be able to squeeze that together and get it out. Obviously, there's still going to be fuel coming out, so be very careful. Now you've got a good look inside those connectors. You can see those O-rings. Again, that's why we've got the grease to be able to lubricate our replacement fuel filter. Now let's go to the bench and prep. Okay, so I left the fuel filter in the pan underneath the vehicle. It's going to continue to drip fuel and let out, and I got the bracket off of it. I got it set on a shop towel here on the workbench here. Here's the replacement part here. It's a Purolator filter that I'm using. I'll put a link down below to this one. Man also makes a pretty good filter here. Now if you look at this one here, you'll notice there is an arrow there that indicates the direction that the fuel will travel. Now in this case here, the fuel is in the rear of the car and going forward towards the engine, so think about that with your direction of travel. Now with our part laid out there, we need to grab the Super Lube grease, and remember this is a regular service item, so we're going to use just a little dab of the Super Lube, not a lot, just a little bit here, just enough on the end of the finger, and we're going to lubricate both the ends here so that we can remove this again the next time we need to do this service in the future because of the O-rings that are in the connectors on either end that secure around this little barb that hold it securely in place. Believe me, you'll thank yourself the next time you need to replace this that you've done this. Just a really simple task here, or a little step that will save you a lot of pain and misery down the road in the future. You don't need too much grease, just enough to be able to lubricate the O-rings and to have it slide right into place. That's plenty. Wipe away any excess. Now with the filter ready to go, we need to be able to fit the filter into the mounting bracket. It's easy to get this turned around, upside down, flipped around, because this is going under the vehicle. Look for that little barb on the side there. That's going to be your indicator there, because that's going to go on the top side of the filter, kind of like a can. And this is going to be a compression fitting right around it here. And so then that's going to be your ticket to help remember to get the orientation correct. Have that little barb on the forward side of the can, if you will. You also may want to leave the filter that you take off under the car laying in the orientation that you removed it in, just as an extra reference while you're under the vehicle. Now let's go back to the vehicle and put this in. Now the next step that we need to do is to be able to recap that Schrader valve. We'll go ahead and put that cap right on. It screws on just like you would after you've checked your tire pressure. Just slide that cap on. It's a lot easier to do it right now where you got full access. Now remember, there still may be some fuel spilling out of that connector. Don't be surprised. It is an active fuel line. There is still probably fuel in your gas tank. Hopefully there should be if you're doing this. And then now with that bracket in hand, and this is double check to make sure you get that cap on just right, because you can see where my hands fit really nice right now. When we get everything in place, it makes it a little bit harder. Let a little more fuel drain out here. Not a lot. I'm not that concerned. And then we're just going to be able to take our fuel filter, and then it's going to slide right into place. That'll stop that fuel from leaking there. Give it a nice little push, and that'll click on. You hear a nice positive click, and then do the same thing for the other side. A little hard to see there out of frame. And then now you can see where this clamp is going to fold over, and we're putting our bolt in just a second here using our socket, and then tighten it right up into place. Just hand tight's all we need, just good and snug. Now after double checking the alignment and fitment of everything here, I can squeeze that together, put my bolt through here, and I'll line it up with the hole, and I'll kind of start this off by hand here, getting right into the little threaded portion up there. Remember, this is kind of stubby. It'd be nice if this bolt were just a hair longer. And then we'll come back, put our ratchet on it here. Couple quick turns, just like I said before, just get it good and snug. This doesn't have to be the tightest bolt in the world, but make sure it's nice, tight, and secure. You'll know when it's tight. It just feels right. So with that, this is a really, really quick repair service item, if you will. Something to think about every so often, every couple oil changes that you do. I'd do this at least once a year if I were you. It just keeps everything running nice and well in your engine, and really doesn't take that much time. We're talking about 5 minutes here if you're not setting this up here and doing it on camera. So if you got any questions or comments about this, go ahead and put it down below. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day. Bye.